everyone. I'm so excited to be talking about this topic, generating habits that work for you. It's fabulous. I can't wait to share some of my secrets with you because I know they're going to make a difference. And so I started putting my hat on and saying, hey, what would I recommend to you? And I went, oh, I know. That's easy. Gratitude, because we all know that when we're in gratitude, we experience more fullness of life and actually more success. And then I went, oh, wait a minute, appreciation. Because we know from Jim Kouzes' study that 98% of the people who responded to that study said, we work longer hours, more productively and happier when we're being acknowledged by our employer. And then I went, oh, wait. I know. It's taking breaks periodically. Because research shows us that if we take breaks, and it's necessary to take breaks every 90 minutes, we're going to be far more productive. We're going to be happier at work, more content, more satisfied. And actually, 86% of people who were tested said, they're far more productive, they're happier on the job, everything is hunky-dory. And that makes sense because the human brain wasn't devised to focus exclusively on one item forever. We do better when we diverse our view of life periodically. So those 90-minute breaks are going to help you at every 90 minutes, please, not 90-minute break. And then I went, oh, wait a minute, I know. Smile. Something as simple as smiling. Because when we meet challenging times, the smile helps us through it. As we smile through life, we have more appreciation and gratitude and excitement about what's happening. And then I went, are those what I want to share? Come on, Nancy. Dig deeper. What's going to support shattering, breakthrough change for people? And then I went, oh, I know what it is. I can't wait to share it with you. Let's focus on two powerful habits that will support you in reaching your desired destination. There is no question that often you may feel as though you're on a mission impossible assignment. But it is definitely mission possible for you when you take on these two powerful habits. But before we dive into them, let's pause to realize the natural flow of creation. You see, wise people understand all of life is interconnecting actions. Everything is linked. Thus, wise people understand that the present, what's going on right now, will very soon become your past, which not only determines your today's reality, but also has a way of showing up in your future. That's why generating habits are critical, not only for who you are today, but who you become tomorrow and what you achieve in the world. Taking on these two powerful habits will help you magnetize the results you generate. This is as complex and as simple as it gets. The first habit I put into an equation format. Leadership of your life, whether personally or professionally, starts from within and is then realized externally. We're going to look at this formula from a career perspective, though the same mental muscle can be translated into your personal life. What does this formula stand for? The little CA represents your career achievements, right where you are now. Believe me, these letters aren't tiny because you've achieved so little. The truth is, you've achieved magnificent results already. It represents your todays with all of your accomplishments, all that makes you unique, and who you are, and it symbolizes all the seeds you're planting and nurturing. And yet, with all of your accomplishments that you've already done, the reason the CA is small is because there is a larger future in front of you, which is where the big CP comes into play. It stands for your career potential, all of your uniqueness, all your giftedness, all your expertise,
all the skills and behaviors you've acquired through the years. The career potential represents the combination of not only your skills and experience, it also includes your optimism, your intentionality, and your ability to create. All of this is what you unleash and bring to bear with power and integrity to generate your future. As it turns out, the most important ingredient you can add to the success of your career emerges from the core of who you are. How ironic is it that the only thing that can really get in your way of achieving all of this is you? That's why the minus sign in front of the you. The you in this equation limits and holds you small even when you have all the skills in the world. But the you can be transformed into a plus in your equation should you choose. It can represent the full breadth of your beingness, but only if you choose to stop what is holding you small and start taking on new habits and developing the tools and behaviors and attitudes necessary to achieve your dreams. You see, how you define yourself either limits all of your greatness from developing or liberates all your giftedness into the world. This self-definition is where you grant permission to emerge fully in order to carry out your meaningful purpose. It is also the place where you incorporate either the positive beliefs or the negative judgments about yourself. This one simple equation reveals that we are the biggest contributor or the biggest barrier to our own success. So think hard and long as you move forward, and remember, you determine if the you in your equation is a plus or a minus, and either is always determining your career future. I think this quote by John Shar sums it up far more poetically than I ever could. Whether you realize it or not, your future is created by what you think, what you consider worthy, what you study, what you discover, what you observe, what you try and experiment with, what you attach significance to, and what you judge as worthy. Without realizing it, we find ourselves listening, sometimes with more vigilance to the outside world than our own vision, our own inspiration, our own envisioned possibilities. We've looked at this one big habit we just may want to shift, getting out of our own way. The second habit is also an influencer of the future and how we carve out that future for ourselves, whether we keep it small or stuck or big and growing. And this is buying into the box like thinking of the business world. Don't get me wrong, I love business. It's provided all of us with a lifestyle we appreciate, and yet the business of business, when permitted to run amok, takes control of our mind and closes down not only our future, but the organization we work for from achieving the breakthrough shifts necessary for a dynamic, competitive, producing environment as well. You know when you're locked into a 1 + 1 = 2 world and no exponential, unexplained growth takes place, where processes and procedures and linear thinking and quarter-to-quarter view of the company equates to success. Yet often, business holds human potentiality as the lowest denominator in the profitability equation. This viewpoint limits us and our companies. Now, you may notice that there's a blue infinity sign at the top of this business world human possibility, because both sides are essential for sustainable success. In this webinar, I'm emphasizing human possibility because we often underutilize this side of the business equation. Human possibility was never intended to be locked into a box. Through the history of man, we've been shown the rules and laws of nature are far more fluid than we can ever imagine. They don't limit anything. Rather, the laws of nature are all about expansion and discovery and continued growth. Our brain has been created to explore and stretch the boundaries of our world and to aid us in achieving our goals, no matter how impossible they may seem to others or even to us in this moment in time. Let's look at some who have broken the bounds of possibility and in the process generated the greatness for themselves. Oprah, did you know she was told she'd never make it on television? Or how about Steven Spielberg? His movies only grossed more than $9 million dollars and brought him a handful of Academy Awards. And yet, he was rejected not once, but twice by the University of Southern California School of Cinematic Arts. Apparently, as a way of saying, whoops, we made a mistake, the school erected a building to honor him. Or how about Steve Jobs, who was publicly fired by John Sculley, the very man he'd personally brought in as CEO, because Sculley thought Jobs was harming Apple. Jobs returned years later to Apple when it was on the brink of disaster and guided it to the company we know today. Years later, Sculley called Steve Jobs, quote unquote, the greatest CEO. Or how about Walt Disney? I can't even imagine a childhood without the Disney experience. Can you? Well, it might have become reality had Walt listened to his former newspaper editor who told him, quote unquote, you lack imagination and have no good ideas. Or how about J.K. Rowling's, Harry Potter's author. Her first book was rejected 9 to 12 times before it was pulled out of that reject pile by an administrative assistant who was mesmerized by the story. Or let's look at Elvis Presley. He was told, you ain't going nowhere, son. You ought to go back to driving a truck, unquote. This after his first performance at the Grand Ole Opry. Or let's look at Michael Jordan. Did you know he was cut from his high school team? What would we have missed had he listened and believed his coach? Only 6 championships and 5 MVP titles. And please don't let us forget Thomas Edison, who was told by his teachers he was, quote unquote, too stupid to learn anything. He went on to hold more than 1,000 patents. To this day, Edison has more patents listed under his name than any other inventor. I could go on, but I think you've got the picture. What I'm suggesting isn't some minor shift in being. Instead, it is a profound, life-changing one. Viewing yourself from a human possibility frame of reference has you tapping into your full potential and, quote unquote, standing in your light, as Jordan Smith says in his song.
How do you feel about those two? Have they started germinating some thinking in your brain? Because I really want them to. Now, as you move forward to achieve your goals or to go for that long distance run in your career or for your personal life or for what you're going after, I want you to say, whoa, am I getting in my own way? Truly dig deep and say, am I getting in my own way? And if you're finding that you are, stop, reset, and take one small step forward into your future that has you not being blocked by yourself, but that creates an opening for you to trust and believe and experience possibility as you move forward into your career and your life that would be fulfilling to you. And then I also want you to go, wait a minute. have I accidentally stuck myself back in that box of linear thinking where possibility doesn't exist? And if you have, I want you to leap outside of the box. And I want you to realize that possibility and potential are the only things that create your future bigger and better and more powerful and more fulfilling than living in the box. So, I'm hoping these two things have just shifted you right outside of any ruts that you've created in your life and have you moving forward. Because my intention is that we're celebrating already the rest of the year when you get to your greatness. In my mind, I'm celebrating the achievement already. And I'd like you to be joining me in that. I'm celebrating big time for you breaking through and shattering anything that's holding you small.